Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rocha, Chodash, Ma'amah. I want to give a double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders, as well as their bishops. I want to give a double honors to my elder apostle, Ahdawam Banyasharala of the Lions Den Camp, here in Jacksonville, Florida, and as well as a double honors to my bishop, Kanak San Banyasharala of the Lions Den Camp, here in Jacksonville, Florida as well. Shalom to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm in the car, Harab Banyasharala, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharala, here in Jacksonville, Florida. And now today I'll be coming out a lesson and it's on this article. And as you see right here, the title, you know what I'm saying, it's Not a Jew, faces storm in Israel after Iran ceasefire, as critics accuse him of the worst potential political disaster in history. And you know, he's to me personally, he's running a close second. He's running a very close second to the sitting administration here in Babylon, President Babylon. But let's continue. It says, I'm gonna try to not uh, 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 call him out his name, but as it says, this is Benjamin Netanyahu is facing a domestic backlash over the Pakistani brokered 2-week ceasefire deal with Iran, which critics accuse him of presiding over the worst political disaster in history. Yeah, and that's just talking about because of that strike that happened, which caused Iran to just completely close off the strait. But they also popped Israel back as well when they struck, I think, over there in Hezbollah or something like that. But let's continue. It says, oh yeah, and this is a pretty long article, so I'm gonna read most of it, but it's still a lot more that I'm not gonna read because it gets in the jargon after so long. But I'm gonna just continue though. Or I might just hit all the important points. Let's continue. It says the Israeli prime minister is facing an onslaught from parties across the country's political spectrum for not continuing the conflict, although Tel Aviv was not involved in the peace talks. It says there is also a growing international outcry over ongoing Israeli strikes in Lebanon, which, as of Thursday, have killed 1,700 people, including 130 children. Western countries have insisted that Lebanon must be a part of the ceasefire, while Tehran claimed that the attacks on the country represent a grave violation of the agreement. That's why Iran popped right back. When they did, Iran popped right back. You know what I'm saying? You can see Netanyahu, his face with this stupid right here. But let's continue. It says the developments have sparked outrage among Israeli politicians who have urged Netanyahu, trying not to say not a Jew, but bear with me, to continue the war. Opposition leader Yair Lapid branded the Israeli prime minister's handling of the conflict as a catastrophe. And of course, that's how Esau do though. They Edomite, they Amalek. This guy here, he's an Amalekite. This picture right here, he's Amalek. He's an Amalekite. Most of them over there is Amalekites over there in the land of Israel, and it is what it is. It says there has never been such a political disaster in all of history. Okay, I mean, what about Rome? But hey, let's continue. It says he wrote in a post on X Wednesday, Israel wasn't even at the table when the decisions were made concerning the core of our national security. He praised the military for carrying out everything that was asked of it and the public for demonstrating amazing resilience, but said they had both been let down by Netanyahu due to what he called the leader's arrogance, negligence, and lack of strategic planning. Well, he had one to second that notion, President Babylon. It says Mr. Lapid's criticism was repeated by former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who said Israel's failure to achieve its war goals would leave it facing a vengeful Iran. Of course. The reason why so many people feel disappointed is that the leadership sold illusions, or sold us illusions, he said in a live broadcast on Wednesday. All their empty promises have exploded in our faces. Unfortunately, each of us sees with sees with our own eyes that Hamas is getting stronger. Hezbollah and Iran are standing on their own 2 feet. And this is happening because a government that dismantles Israel from within cannot defeat the enemy uh, from without. This is Yair Golan, a center-left politician, whatever the heck is a center-left politician, and the head of the Democratic Party, accused uh, Netanyahu of lying. And of course, that's what Esau does. He's the father of lies. That's what they do. It says he promised a historic victory and security for generations. And in practice, we got some of the gravest strategic failures Israel has ever known. He said on X, blood was spilled, citizens were killed, soldiers fell. None of the goals were accomplished. And that's just the Lord taking the wise in their devices so that they can't perform their enterprise. But let's continue. It says the nuclear program was not destroyed. The ballistic threat remains. The regime is in place and is even stronger coming out of this war. He continued. But I mean, you got to think you've been messing with them Persians for over 50 years. So what you think was going to happen at some point when somebody start to fight back? Because you've been messing with them for a long time. Guess what? When they start to fight back, guess what? They ain't gonna pull no punches, and they ain't gonna be listening or hearing anything or any pleas coming from you. But but let's continue. This is Netanyahu, uh education minister Yoav Kish, however you say that, hit back at the critics, accusing them of pumping up a defeat. Nah, I ain't pumping a defeat up. That happened. Yeah, that was whoop on ass. Let's continue. It says the Israeli prime minister has also faced a growing international outcry over the IDF's campaign in Lebanon. I want to say occupation in Lebanon, which agencies warn has created a humanitarian catastrophe. Yes, all the stuff that they was doing, some of the stuff that they was doing, them 48 fakers over there, they did some stuff, even killing journalists and stuff like that, trying to report on what's going on, aiming at them on purpose, knowing that they was part of the UN and NATO and all that, and they was still aiming at them. But let's continue. More than 250 people have been killed in 24 hours in the deadliest attack on the country since the conflict began. More than 100 sites were targeted in 10 minutes on Wednesday, and more than a million people, 20% of the population, has been displaced since the attacks began in February. Despite a ceasefire being agreed on, Netanyahu and the White House said that the 14-day truce does not apply to Lebanese territory, a key demand for Tehran. So there you go. Let's see. It says Israel says it must continue its attack in order to defeat. All right, yeah, and that just did the same rhetoric that this devil been talking about. So there you go. He's facing backlash because of the tomfoolery that he's on, and the Lord said that this would happen to Esau, to Edom, in the earth. So this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also. Let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." So this devil, he is shamed for glory, meaning he is suffering shame for all the ambitious goals that he once had. He's now filled with shame. Why? Because that ambition caused him to help people finish with all they living, caused him to burn bridges, caused him to create enemies where there were no enemies. So now this devil is filled with shame for glory. He wanted all his glory. Well, guess what? It come with shame. So now this devil is finna drink also the cup of the Lord Yahweh's right hand. And in that cup, there is exposure. So This devil is being exposed. That's why it says, let his foreskin be uncovered. And in that uncovering, this devil is also going to drink of the wrath of the Lord that he's going to bring upon the earth and upon Esau. And it is what it is. I ain't sugarcoat no more. We at the end. That's why they was doing all that community guideline bullcrap 2-3 years ago. But now it's happening. It's the truth. So the Heavenly Father, that cup, that wrath, that judgment is turned unto this devil. And now shameful spewing is on this devil's glory, meaning every time this devil does something and it does not succeed, or it goes left, or it doesn't go right at all, guess what? People are now criticizing. That's that shameful spewing, talking trash, you know, making fun of them, wagging their, you know what I'm saying, clapping their hands and wagging their head, you know, like, look at you. You said all this, and what, ain't none of that happened. Well, that's what the Lord said was going to happen to this devil. Let's continue. Where we at? Let's go back a couple. Let's go back. Yeah, okay. Nahum. I'm verse chapter 3, verse 5, and it says, my point is verse 6, but I'm gonna start at verse 5 to complete the thought. It says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts." So the Lord is against this devil anyway. And it says, "And I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." So again, the Heavenly Father is against this devil, or devils, I should say. Even the elites, the Lord is against them, because they are all Edom. Even though they Amalek, but they all Edom, all of them. So the Lord is discovering the skirts upon this devil's face, meaning every time this devil does something and tries to hide behind closed doors, the Lord exposes it, makes it known to the world so that people can see. And again, I'm going to read one more time. "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." So the Lord is exposing this devil. Now these other nations are seeing it, still seeing it, and seeing the worst of it, and it ain't over. Verse 6, my point. It says, "And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and set thee as a gazing stock." So the Lord is casting abominable filth on this devil, making him vile, and anything that's vile is hated. It's disgusting. It's like vile, in my opinion, just speaking as a man, vile is like an upgrade from being despised. Even though you could say they're synonymous, but making this devil vile, making them hate it, and setting them as a gazing stock. People pointing the finger now. People looking at him and laughing, making fun of him, talking trash to him, criticizing, harsh criticism. Let's continue. Let's go back to chapter 1 of Nahum. I'm going to read verse 6 and I'm going to jump down to verse 8. It says, "Who can stand before his indignation? Who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him." So who can stand before the Heavenly Father's wrath? In whatever way, form, or fashion that he chooses to bring it to the earth or to people, who can stand before it? But this right here is talking about actual, judgment and fire, real fire that the Lord's going to use to judge the earth with, through the form of ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, with nuclear powered warheads. That's going to cause the besom of destruction and the lick of fire. So who can abide in that? Who can stand before the Heavenly Father's fury when the rocks are thrown down by him, when the earth trembles, when he moves? Who can stand before that? No man can stand before that. That's the danger zone where no man can stand and hold his own. Just a little bit of Big Daddy Kane. But let's continue. Verse 8, I'm going to jump down. It says, "But with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemy." So with an overwhelming judgment, the Lord is going to make an utter end of this devil's structure and power system in the earth. And it says, "And darkness shall pursue his enemy." So the Lord's judgment is going to pursue this devil until his very end. Let's continue. Verse 9. What do ye imagine against the Lord Yahweh? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. So why is this devil imagining things against the Heavenly Father? You got to think this devil really think he gonna fight Yahweh Shai when Yahweh Shai show up. Yahweh Shai is showing up with the heavenly host, and this devil think he gonna fight him. And it says in Revelation that the devil and his angels fought against the Lord and his angels, Yahweh Shai and the angels, and guess what? The devil lost and was cast down. So why do this devil imagine against the Lord? The Lord is going to make an utter end to this devil. And the affliction that he's been putting out upon the people of Yasher Allah, the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the speckled bird, meaning these other nations, meaning Israelites, Salakia, that is spread it among these other nations. That affliction, once the Lord move this devil out the way and put us in our place, our rightful place, our land over there in the east, Israel, guess what? That affliction ain't rising up a second time. The devil ain't finna get in power again and get the better of us again. It ain't gonna happen. As a matter of fact, he ain't even raising up a second time to get power in the earth once this happened. Once this great whore that sits upon the scarlet covered beast, once this goes down, that's it. It's over. Ain't gonna be no more rising out of the ashes like a phoenix. The Lord ain't create phoenixes. He created a lot of fowls and birds. A phoenix is not one of them. That's a mythological creature. And if you go into the word myth, it pretty much means a lie. So this devil is believing a lie. These devils are believing a lie. Let's continue. So verse 10, it says, for while they be folding together as thorns, and while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. So though this devil thinks that they have a power structure that is in the earth, and they think they're together, even though it's striations here, there, and everywhere, we see it. And though this devil be drunken as drunkards, reveling in his power, oh, I'm going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to push this system and we're going to make everybody do this and this is how the world is going to run and blah, 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 blah. This devil is going to be devoured as stubble fully dry. You don't eat stubble. You light it on fire and you burn it and you get rid of it. Last point. Let's see. And again, verse 11, my last point, says, there is one that come out of thee that imagineth evil against the Lord Yahweh, a wicked counselor. Esau. He imagineth evil against the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. He imagineth wickedness and evil in the earth. And guess what? The Lord gonna cut them down forever. So the fact that we're seeing these devils catch flack for not doing what they say they was gonna do and not being able to deliver on what they say they was gonna be able to deliver on, this is the downfall of this devil. We're seeing it, and it's a slippery slope. This devil can't get his footing. Every time he think he got some kind of stability, it's like climbing up a mountain. Well, we will say a hill. And that hill, it's done rained a couple of times. So I guess it's all wet. So now this devil, he can't get his footing. And every time he think he get a leg up, guess what? It slip and he go back down. He slide down further than he was before. So yeah, just a quick lesson. And with that, shalom.